Welcome to another broadcast of financial intelligence. Today, I want to speak to you about a very important topic, and that topic is titled Money Mastery and Asset Management. The asset that we're going to be talking about today is land asset. And what I want to show you is that there's no secrets to wealth creation. There is just those that have the information and leverage the information, and those that do not have the information and perhaps prefer it that way. At Mega Money Capital, Mega Money Media, and Global Branding and Marketing, we have a mission, and that mission is to provide you, businesses, and the general public who wants to achieve more financially, is to provide you with a content of information that will help you to make informed and educated decision in terms of how you go about creating wealth. And these systems that I will be bringing to you are the system that the wealthiest of people in the world uses to cash flow maximize. And perhaps I will share some of my personal experiences with you in terms of what I would have used to come to my position of financial strength. Now, I begin by simply saying that one, there is no secrets to wealth creation. There is just those that have what you call an abundant mindset, and they seek after the information that will allow them to come into wealth abundantly. And there are those who have a limited mindset or a limited belief mindset. And because of your limited belief, you remain stuck exactly where you are. And I'm trusting that these programs that we're going to be bringing to you and moving forward will really help to get you out of that fixed mindset and into a growth mindset where you start to recognize that you have the potential to achieve greatness. And you not only recognize that, because I would normally say that knowledge is power, but the ability to take action, informed action, is where you're going to get your superpower from. And I'm really trusting that you can leverage this information and make it your superpower. One of the first things that I'm going to talk about today is land asset acquisition and asset leverage and asset protection. At Mega Money Media, Global Branding and Marketing, we have designed a very unique platform to really help people to understand money and how money works. And one of the first things for you to understand is land asset acquisition, asset leverage, and asset protection. Now, in terms of understanding land, there's a lot to be understand about land. In most cases, when people hear about land, we simply see land. But the way the wealthy understand land is the way you need to invest the time, the thought, and the resources to understand. I will now try to give a simple explanation in terms of how you should start to look at land and how you should start to position your thinking, your mindset around land asset acquisition. When we talk about land, it's important for you to see land from four different standpoints. One, you can see land from the standpoint of metal, precious metal, agriculture, and energy. I know this may sound very unusual to you. If not unusual, it might begin to sound a bit complex to you. Well, if it's beginning to sound complex to you and you're telling yourself this is something that you don't want to listen to, I want to say to you that that is the mindset, the very same mindset that keeps you in poverty. So if you want to now get an abundant mindset, a different way of thinking, I want to encourage you to work with me on this journey. And I promise you that at the end of the tunnel, you will see a light so bright that will give you so much of new ideas in terms of wealth creation. Let's go through some of these things I have just talked about. Metal. What exactly do I mean when I talk about metal? Now, there's four categories to metal. There is lead, there is copper, there is nickel, and there is aluminum. This is so important for you to understand because the global trade in the metal market is about 20 trillion US dollars. Yes, 20 trillion US dollars. And it's when you understand the financial realities around this sector and you understand how to navigate this sector and leverage this sector to cash flow maximize is where your life takes on a different perspective. I'll go a little deeper. When you see in the developed world a skyscraper is going up, they're using the metal market. When you see a car factories are building new cars, they're leveraging the metal market. When you see new train lines are being built and bullet trains are being built, they're leveraging the metal market. When you see the tractors and trailers are being built, they're leveraging the metal market. So the market is very, very huge. And it is important that you start to understand these markets and how these markets work. Now, the average person, again, you will say to yourself, well, that's a complex scenario and to getting into the metal market. There may be entry barriers, and yes, there may be some entry barrier because negotiating in the metal market, in most cases, you are not, perhaps 99% of the time, you're not negotiating private sector to private sector. You're negotiating private sector to public sector. So your negotiation skills has to be very good. Your pre-preparation skills has to be very good. But the reality is that if you think that success is easy, try something that is simple and is trying simple things that is keeping you stuck, that is keeping you exactly where you are today. But if you want to come into abundance, I want to encourage you, try something new. Get a good mentor, get a good coach that can guide you through this whole process and make this whole process much more easier for you. One of the reasons that we have set up Global Branding and Marketing, Mega Money Media and Mega Money Capital is to really give you businesses, to give you, the general public, people that want to achieve more financially, a platform to easily navigate these systems. So as I'm saying, in most cases, you will be negotiating with the public sector, which is the state, as against business to business market. Now, getting into this market, it don't always have to be as complex as that, because getting into the metal market, it means that you can get in at two levels. It means you can get into that market as an active investor, and you can get into that market as a passive investor. And let me explain the two. As an active investor into the metal market, it simply means that you are actively involved in the procurement of land, in the land extraction, conversion of mineral into metal products, and perhaps into the erection of tall buildings, train lines, cars, and the full works. You may be actively involved in that process. To be actively involved doesn't only require strong negotiation skills, but it's a high capital market. Again, understanding money, how money work, understanding business and how business work, those are not necessarily entry barriers, but they're just some pre-qualification criteria that you must have. Many persons see money as an issue, but getting into this market because of the fact that it's over $20 trillion that is traded annually in this market, it may be very easy for you to be listed on the international stock exchange market. And by being listed, it simply means that the capital, the startup capital to move that process forward can become very easy. You have a number of angel investors, venture capitalists, LBOs, and IPOs who may have an interest in your proposal, and you can quickly raise the capital to move a process forward because global demand for metal is extremely high. All right, so it's important for you to understand this. Now, that is more the complex element, and there's so much more to it. But when you come into our training programs, we will work with you to help you to understand how to make better business decisions. Before I go to the passive market, I want to say this. Business owners who have your traditional income generating platform, these are important things for you to know. And I'm going to give one reason why it's important for you to know and leverage. Very often you find businesses that are doing well, they park their excess liquidity into an interest bearing account. And that interest bearing account gives you about 0.1% per annum, which is very small. That simply means that if you have about $10 million in a bank account and you're getting 0.5% per annum, it means that you're getting a little above $100,000 for an entire year for parking that money. And I'm saying to you that when you understand some of these sectors that I'm talking about and how to get involved in these sectors, they present opportunities for you to earn way beyond that 0.1%. Very much close to guarantee if you understand how to get into that market. When you come into our programs at our Mega Money Capital, Mega Money Media, Global Branding and Marketing, we will work with you to help you to navigate this process. So that's just an appetizer. Now, if you don't want a complex element, here again is where it's relevant to businesses because you can become a passive investor into this market. Now, I just mentioned that one of the platforms that these entrepreneurs use to raise capital is the stock exchange market. They're able to put the brand on the stock exchange market and attract a number of accredited investors, public investors, to raise the capital to now invest into the business. Now, investors into that business portfolio will be able to position themselves as passive income earners, meaning that you simply put your money to work for you, and that's all you do. You simply put your money to work in the stock exchange market, and you pull back, and your money work for you. But this is what I want to say to you. Investing in the stock exchange market is not a simple task. So I'm saying this because it's very much a disclaimer, because of the fact that I don't want anybody to be listening to the program and just say that I say you must go willy-nilly and just invest into the stock exchange market. Before we invest into the stock exchange market, it's important to understand the market environment, understand the business model, understand the business growth potential, understand a whole host of information relevant to the specific stock before we encourage any of our investors and potential investors to purchase a stock, to invest in a stock. So I want to make this clear. I'm saying that if you have the right information, you have the right market intelligence, you have the right product, you can do your short and long-term forecast of the growth potential of the particular brand that you're going to be investing in, then and only then is the time that you make the investment decision. For me, again, it's not just about having a stockbroker who is going to get a commission for investing your money. You want to go beyond that. You want to work with a body of people, an institution, an organization that can do the accurate market analysis for you. And based on the accurate market analysis, they're helping you to make informed and educated decision in terms of how you invest your money. So this is a passive approach to earning. So it simply means that you have excess liquidity And what you do, you simply put your money to a Vanguard ETF, or you put your money into a REIT, a real estate investment trust. You put your money on the London Stock Exchange. And the London Stock Exchange is a pretty good environment. The Bank of Montreal. There's a whole range of different investment platforms that you can look at. And I'm saying to you, this is the time for you to start looking at all of this. Corona has literally shut down the world, COVID-19, and we are quite certain that this is not a time to panic. All right, it's not a time to panic. If even you own a stock, it's not a time to panic, because something else that we have seen, and I must say this, that many persons, when you own stock, when a crisis arises, a national or a global crisis arises, you start to panic. And what you do, you pull your stock out of the market. And I'm saying to you that that could be not the smartest thing to do. All right. Later on, I will go into all of that. In other podcasts, I will tell you exactly why it's not the smartest thing to do. The smart thing to do, and this is how the wealthy position themselves to acquire more wealth. When everyone is panicking, they are extremely calm and they're making well calculated, informed, and educated decisions in terms of wealth creation. While the storm is out there, and I'm saying to you this is what I can say to you: the best time to invest in a certain specific stock market is this time, right now. There's no better time like now. All right, later on I will go into all of that as to why this is the best time. So this is not a time to panic. This is a time to be happy, because at the end of this tunnel, you're going to be seeing a light so bright that your few dollars that you would have put into a stock, all right, depending on how much you invest, it can make you an instant millionaire, or it can make you a millionaire several times over again. Now, what I'm saying here is historical data to prove that, all right? But I'm not asking you to go and do it because you don't know enough about how the ebb and flow of the market works. You don't know enough about the stock that you're likely to invest in. But you need to have all of these information that will allow you to make informed and educated decisions. Get a trusted broker, get a trusted financial advisor, and work with those players to really help you to make smart financial decisions. So here is where today you learn a little bit more about the money mastery and asset management. There's so much more. I'm now beginning to just scratch the surface here on this topic, but it's important for you to see land not only as real estate land. There's a primary nature to land, and you need to understand it. And what I've just explained to you is some of how you can leverage some of the primary benefits and values of land. So today we looked at land from the standpoint of metal, and we did say that in terms of utilizing land as a primary asset, you can leverage it from the standpoint of metal, precious metal, agriculture, energy. Today we looked at the metal, and we look at 4 areas in the metal market. We look at lead, copper, nickel, and aluminum. And all of these sectors there's tremendous global demand. You want to actively or passively get involved in a business sector, either actively or passively, that you know there's global demand in those sectors. And the 3 other sectors, they're all tremendous sectors in terms of cash flowing. But the key is that you need to understand these sectors and how to really navigate these sectors in terms of cash flow and maximization. So in the event that you are joining me for the first time, do permit me, I should have done this at the beginning to introduce myself. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature. and I'm the author of several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkits. These two books are already on the bestseller list. I want to emphasize this is a time, it is necessary more than ever for you to develop what I want to call a growth mindset. It is a time for you to start to recognize that you not lack limitation, doubts, and fear, but you have the potential to achieve abundance. But it's important that you avail yourself to the information that can help you to achieve your abundance potential. It is my belief that you may not necessarily achieve this on your own, because if being on your own has brought you this far, I don't believe it's going to take you much further in any short period of time. So I want to strongly recommend that you get in contact with a mentor, with a coach, not just any mentor or any coach. You want a financial mentor and coach. You want a business mentor and coach that understand the inner working of these things and who have the time and to work with you to really help you to understand the process and how the process works, and who is not just in the business for cash flow maximization. We are not in this business simply to cash flow maximize. We are in this business because we're committed to a process, and that process is to add value to people's life and to fix the problems that businesses are going through and the problems that people are going through. And businesses always need additional financing. Businesses that I'm interfacing with, they always talk about accessing capital and the high cost for capital. So in our program also, we talk to you a whole lot about how to navigate the commercial financial sector, how to navigate the investment financial sector, how to navigate the smart capital market, and you need to know this. All right, so we see ourselves as being one of the key elements in the financial intelligence and in business development and content. Again, I want to thank you all for joining, and today I do want to encourage you to give me a thumbs up if you like this program. If this program brings any benefit to you, please like it, please share it, recommend it within your social group, and help me to get the word out. I just want to say again, talk a little bit about COVID-19, because I know it is having a very devastating effect on the world right now. Over 200 countries has been affected by COVID-19, and we're seeing that the economies has come to a standstill. We're seeing businesses are folding. We're seeing families being affected because they are worried about the next paycheck. And part of what we're doing here is not only to help businesses. We want to help businesses develop a new corporate culture to impact their employees. But before that even happens, we also want to reach out to employees, and we want to say to you that this is a time to take ownership over your life. This is a time to start thinking about your early retirement plan. This is the time to start thinking about your smart investment strategies. And this is a time to start building your emergency fund. You see, when you don't have these things is one of the reasons why you panic. This is one of the reasons why at this particular time you're going through so much of stress. And I want to appeal to you to keep your stress level low, because as your stress level begins to rise, it does tremendous harm to your body. It affects your kidneys, it affects your immune system, it affects your heart. And guess what? When COVID-19 comes at you and you have a compromised immune system, it opens the door for COVID-19 to further devastate you. So I really want to ask you to, my little advice to you is do everything to build up your immune system and get as much rest as possible at this time because you are locked in. You're asked to stay off the road as much as possible in terms of flattening the curve of COVID 19. So while you do all of that, one of the best things that you can do is to isolate yourself, to stay in. I know it's not the easiest thing for over 80% of this global population to do because you're worried about, if you stop work, where the next paycheck is going to come from. In the developed world, we have heard that they're issuing check, and there's something that we call unemployment benefit. In the developed world, they have these unemployment benefit systems that are set up, but I'm worried about developing economies who may not have a fully developed um, social systems that can give a quick response to this. So persons who are going to be asked to stay at home, you now don't have to worry about where the paycheck is going to be coming from and how you're going to cover your bills, how you're going to take care of your family. At a later date, that I think very soon, I want to do another program on COVID-19 and its impact on developed and developing economies, and perhaps make some suggestions as to what developing economies can do to help cushion the effect on businesses, to help cushion the effects on human life, and by extension, save the economy as a whole. So be blessed until the next broadcast.